Definitely the new normal here.
Wow, this is amazing. This is just amazing. Hi, everyone. Hello, world. This is so exciting. I can't even believe we're doing it. This is amazing. You know what? I think because I have Facebook open. No, the echo is gone. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, this is so wonderful. It is so good to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you. Virtually, but sort of in person.
Yeah. So I'm Daniella Platt. I'm a journalist and I'm a concept to market strategist for fashion and lifestyle brands. I'm originally from New York, so I know that that's where you're based, but I've been living in Los Angeles pretty much, we're on the heels of 9/11 right now. I've pretty much moved to Los Angeles just within the year after the towers went down, and I've been in Los Angeles for almost 2 decades.
Wow.
Yeah. So what I do is, I'm a concept to market strategist for fashion and lifestyle brands, and I have a consultancy. It's called Looking Good. Yeah. And for more than 2 decades, I've sold and created hundreds of marketing campaigns for brands that fuel people's lives, like Visa, Montblanc, Lycra, alternative apparel, and so much more. But one of my favorite things in the world that I get to do is I am a journalist. It's one of my favorite things in the world that I get to do. And I decided when I started doing journalism as an extra fun thing for my career, I decided I'm going to focus specifically on women innovators, because usually it's a need that creates a problem, and nobody can solve a woman's problem other than a woman.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
Nobody knows the intricacies to get it done better than a woman. So I've been on that journey, and the articles that I've been covering once a month have been appearing in the Fashion Manuscript. The most recent edition is super exciting because I got to meet such incredible women who have really, I made it like Hamilton theme, like we only get one shot. What is it that we're taking? And I'm so glad that I did that, because I got to meet such incredible brands, which leads me to my amazing guest here, Samantha Dong, who is the founder of an unbelievable shoe collection. But what I gather and what I read, and I'm going to let you take the stage with everything that you do. But what is so amazing to me is you're not solving a footwear problem, you're solving a women's problem.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, go ahead. So Samantha, founder of Ally Shoes in New York, go ahead, introduce yourself and what is your magic?
Thanks for having me, and thanks for doing this. I think it's just so important that brands like ours get our voice heard and our story shared, and they're really appreciative that you're taking the time and space to let me share my story. So I'm Samantha Dong. I'm the founder and CEO of Ally Shoes, and we actually, I think you said that our shoes are your feet's best friend, and that's actually why we chose the name Ally. Is we want to be women's ally in fashion, and so we make pain-free high heels and flats in inclusive sizes and width. Started it with 2 other women. Our chief science officer, Dr. Roxanne Clark, is a practicing pediatric surgeon in New York, and our designer, Sarah Jaramillo, she has amazing experience both with dress shoes, like the Aquazzura of the world, as well as sneaker making. So we really kind of brought in very diverse perspectives from footwear, from science, but really kind of our collective experience from heel pain and flat pain. And we really wanted to solve the issue for women like us. So I guess that's like a quick background of who we are.
So your background though, background, from what I gather, it's not in shoes. What was the aha moment that made you think, and I know in the article we talk about you had an injury and you had, so what was the aha moment? What made you think, oh, I could do this? And how did you even think that there's room for you in the industry to do this? I mean, other people have tried to do what you're doing, but here you're going to do it differently. So what was like your aha moment, and how are you doing this as coming from a totally different space?
Yeah, so I started my career in management consulting. So I was always sort of on the business side. I would say that, heel pain has been just an issue for me since I started my professional career. But it wasn't until that foot injury that really gave me the urge to create something different. So I went on a hiking trip with a few friends to Mount Kilimanjaro as one of those bucket list things that I really wanted to do. And
Yeah.
it was great. It was a great experience. But on the way down, I actually fell a couple of times and actually was wearing hiking boots that's not the right size. So I ended up injuring my toes. And after that, even after recovery, I just couldn't stand in heels for more than 5 seconds. And, at the age of, I don't know, at the time, like 28, I didn't think, it just really breaks my heart that I couldn't wear heels anymore, because it's not just something that's a fashion staple. It's really one of my secret armors, if you will, to make me feel really confident. And just a few of those inches really lift my confidence and self-empowerment. So I wanted to figure this out for myself, but it also, as I start to talk to more girlfriends around me, we started asking ourselves, why do heels have to hurt in the first place? Why is it that we just accept that heels are supposed to hurt, or dress shoes are not that comfortable, and that's just the way it is? And you really have to compromise between style and comfort. And it just, at that time, once I asked myself that, it seemed like a ridiculous assumption. So that's when I started looking into it. And I think because I didn't come from the fashion world and I didn't come from footwear, I had a little bit of naivete to me that, made me feel like I could do this. And it's definitely, it's been 3 years, and it's definitely much harder than I expected. But at the time I thought, as I was doing my research, you asked why do I think I even have a chance? There are a few reasons. One is I realized most of the shoemakers I encountered and a lot of the shoe designers were men, and they were designing high heels. And Christian Louboutin once said, if you can wear heels, don't, if you want to wear heels, don't complain about it, something like that. And there's just the lack of empathy there was quite striking. So I thought, maybe it's time for women to start something for women and create truly comfortable heels and dress shoes for women. So that was one. And I thought also, it's very important to actually bring in kind of expertise from different disciplinaries, not just footwear design and not just kind of dress shoe design. So by being able to have a very diverse group of founders with very diverse types of expertise, that I didn't quite see in the market as well. And I think the third thing is I also started seeing this trend of flexible supply chain, where we can actually offer more sizes while keeping less inventory. And that's part of our model. Is we have a semi made to order model where we can actually have 4 different widths. We can have half sizes from size 4 through 12. And that kind of solves and then supplied with data is something that's very exciting right now that, the industry didn't see, let's say 10, 20 years ago. So that was also an opportunity where I thought maybe it's time we can do something different.
We hear a lot about manufacturing on demand for actual shirts and tops. It's interesting to hear that you figured it out in terms of footwear. And I was actually going to ask you, you have a really broad spectrum of sizing and you have a very tight niche selection of colors. I was actually going to ask you how you're managing to create such a broad range of sizing with a tight amount of colors. And is it because you're able to do this quick turnaround, this custom fit? Is that the magic to it?
Yeah, so it's a combination of both. So the first part is we decided day one that we didn't want to be following this fast fashion trend. We didn't want to do, daily drops or weekly drops. That's not our expertise. And I think there are a lot of brands that's already doing that. For us, it's more about finding, curating and designing the very classic, versatile style, and really focus on diversifying on sizes. So that was a very intentional decision at the beginning that allows us to then say, okay, we can do more sizes. And then to your point, we have built a very flexible supply chain that can turn things around in 2 to 3 weeks. And also for us, because it's such a classic, timeless design, our customers don't mind waiting. And I think that it's just everything works together and created our own niche.
Right. And I completely understand that. I talk about that a lot, actually. When I teach people I teach a lot of how to dress like a VIP. And one of the, and interviewing hundreds and hundreds of women over the years, the one thing that people will say is when I have shoes and when I wear heels or I go on stage, I just feel amazing. Like it truly changes their life. And I try to educate people. And I also deal with a lot of like supply chain, and I believe in sustainability, keep things, have less, but have things that are fabulous. So when it comes to your shoes, I completely understand what you're saying. They're not a low price point, but they're for the everyday woman who wants to keep going continuously and be comfortable and feel like a VIP, and you're willing to wait that 2-3 weeks for it.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think about it, I still have shoes sitting on my, shoe shelf that I've only worn once. And there's so many of those that we bought and we just can't really wear, and we can't use anymore because they didn't fit, or it was more of a, impulse purchase, and the style is very specific. And that's not something we want to build. We want, if you invest in a pair of Ally shoes, they can, this pair of shoes can take you anywhere, and you can pair it with any outfit, and it's truly comfortable. So you want to wear it every day. And that's what we want to build.
That's amazing. And you're also in New York City. So you walk a lot in New York City. And I talk about this in the book. I talk about I coach people on how to be a trade show warrior. You have to be able to get up in the morning and put on your shoes and know you're going to have an amazing day. And nobody has patience with achy, breaky feet. So you're really solving this problem for so many people. What has been surprising to you? I mean, here you are, you come from a different background. Now you're in the world of shoes. What surprises are there as you're building this company?
Yeah.
What's surprising you?
I think I definitely underestimated how difficult it is to create a really great pair of shoes. It took us a long time in product development, a lot of iterations to have something that we're proud of. And so that's definitely the biggest surprise as I got into it. But I think it's worth it. And, quick side story. So I actually had the fortune to talk to the legendary Phil Knight on the phone for 10 minutes. And, he warned me at the time. He said, it's going to be very difficult, but it should be difficult because otherwise, everyone would be doing it. So if you find it difficult, it probably means you're on the right path. So I keep going back to that conversation whenever we hit a wall and realize that, okay, it's supposed to be difficult. And as a result, we built something that hasn't been built before.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to it's funny we say that about shoes, but you have to be uncomfortable in order to challenge yourself. And that's when greatness is born. I remember I was interviewing Allbirds probably earlier in the year, maybe last year, October time. And they were kind of saying also they just happen to be a shoe company, but they're all about sustainability, and they're all about, well, it just so happens that they're about a mission and they're providing it in shoes. It's not necessarily that they thought that nobody knew what the final product would be. So we're kind of in that space of what are we creating that's going to be really comfortable? Well, this is amazing. Okay. So tell me about, do you have any shoes? I don't see any shoes.
I do. Yeah. Let me flip
shoes. Show me. How is everybody? There we go.
Yeah. So this is just a quick selection. We launched with this
simple pump. It's 3-inch pointed toe stiletto with all sorts of amazing ergonomic padding in it. And then we did a variation with ankle strap, as well as a very classic Mary Jane. And recently we launched our Forever Flats with, very similar technology inside to make the flat also super comfortable, and you can truly walk in them all day long.
It's amazing. What's the secret magic in these? What did you figure out? What did you figure out that's not out there? How are people going to go?
So let me
without revealing everything.
Yeah, I won't review everything. It will take forever to do that. But just quickly, so this is our pump. A few things. One thing that you can't quite tell from looking at it, because it doesn't look comfortable, is what we usually get, and that's what I wanted it to be, because I want it to be still very stylish, sleek design. But we actually use stretchy lambskin leather on the outside to build the upper, so it's super flexible, and we built in some flexible technology inside, kind of borrowing some best practices from sneaker making. So it's very easy to break into. That you don't necessarily need to break into our shoe, and that's just the great material that we have found in the lining. And we also have a 3-point support insole on the, can't quite see it. There's a toe support, arch support, and a deep heel cup. And this is the brainchild of Dr. Clark, where she figured out that for the most part, heels hurt because we're putting most of our body weight here. So we're putting 80 to 90% of our body weight in the ball of the feet, and you keep kind of pounding that. So she's able to put in cushioning in key pressure points. And so when you're actually stepping into our heel, it doesn't feel like a 3-inch. It feels like a 1-inch or even a flat, because we're redistributing your weight. And that's part of our pattern as well. And the last thing is the inclusive sizing. So fit actually contributes to like half of the battle when it comes to comfort as well. So we have 4 different toe box width. We went with a pointed toe, which is very hard to make comfortable, but we have narrow, medium, wide, and extra wide. And also go from, the general length is also very granular with half to quarter sizes. So you can truly find your perfect fit in our shoes.
That's incredible. You were actually talking about this. We wrote about this in the article about you're doing virtual fittings. And how does that work even? How do I do it virtual? So we're at home, everybody's working in offices, right? Everybody out there, right? Who's converted a closet into an office. How are you doing? How do you measure people's feet? How are you doing these virtual fittings for people? How are you making it so special and unique?
Yeah, so what we do is essentially bringing our fitting room to your living room. So we call it the at-home trial box, and it's currently for our pumps only, but we might put our flats on that as well. Essentially, you fill out a quick survey. You tell us about your foot condition, what type of sizes you need, and then the colors that you're interested in. And our fitting team would then curate usually 2 pairs of shoes for you to try on at home. And you don't pay anything until you decide, and only if you decide to keep one of the 2 pairs, or if you want to, let's say, order a different color. Our goal is for you to actually try on and experience the shoes without any risk. And, we also have virtual consultation. If you have any questions about fit, you can schedule a Zoom call with us so we can help walk you through that as well. And a lot of the sizing prediction that our fitting team is working with is also very data driven. So all the thousands of data we have gathered so far all goes into that. So our prediction is quite good, but we do still want that try on experience. So we're kind of combining both.
Wow. I mean, your technology sourcing, you really thought about building a huge business, a huge brand as you're starting out. You've really thought it out. And it's really remarkable to hear, because it's not easy to be doing what you're doing. You're actually reminding me of a funny story. I think it was probably about a year ago, and I was actually walking the Magic trade show, and I passed by Chinese laundry, and I was talking to him about, I think it was the CEO or one of the heads over there. And I asked him for some advice. You know, I had a presentation for him about an influencer-based company, and I asked him for some advice. And his advice to me was always listen to what everybody is presenting, but make sure they have an execution and a good strategy behind them, because those are the brands that are really going to do well and sell. And he was saying to me about 10 years ago, he was approached, he got an offer, and this company was like, I'm going to ship shoes and then we're going to do returns. And he thought, this is crazy. Like a company that's going to ship you 15 pairs of shoes and then take returns. He's like, this is crazy. But they had what you have. They have a complete strategy for fulfillment, a complete strategy for execution, an ability to produce, customize, and the data science to listen to the industry overall. And he said that company that nobody had heard of is Zappos. And
I love that.
It's like Kleenex. It's like, oh, I'll just Zappos you those shoes. So you have to have the complete execution and strategy behind it. And I'm really, it's amazing that you've been able to figure this out based on the fact that you have a foot injury.
Yeah, it all came from a literal pain point. So yeah, quite interesting how that happened, but here we are.
So lastly, you mentioned that you just launched Flats, but you didn't really get into that. But is there anything that I wouldn't necessarily see that I should pay attention to? Any little detail that makes it unique?
So I actually really love the design of our flats, and you know, not super related to comfort, but we just really love how it turns out. So we actually, I don't know if you can see it, we decided to go with this very sleek V shape, but it's layered leather. So we're playing around with, you know, suede over leather look. You could do plain suede.
Bring it closer again. Bring it closer.
Yeah. So okay, this one is
yeah.
So it's just because when we were doing our flats design, and we always ask our community for feedback, and people were saying that, you know, with flats, they still want something classic and simple, but not that simple. They wanted a little bit of twist, because with heels, you know, just the shape of it, it already looks great. So that's what we came up with, and it actually works really well on comfort as well, because essentially these two pieces hugs your feet, and it provides really great support. And another thing is, you know, we added very similar support in our insole, and surprisingly, it's very hard to find a pair of flats with proper arch support, and also a pair of flats that have a little bit of a heel. And so when it comes to comfort in flats, Dr. Clark actually, you know, she explained to me that a completely flat shoe is not great for you. And so you really need a little bit of support to make sure, you know, you can walk in them all day long. And that's something that we built into this, this really nice looking flat.
Oh my goodness, you are revolutionizing the footwear industry. Shoes. This is an unbelievable thing that you're doing. Where can people, what's the best way? How can people follow you? How are you communicating with your audience? Where should people go and find the shoes?
Yeah, so you can go on to our website. It's just ally.nyc, so ALLY.nyc. You can sign up for our email newsletter, where we keep our community up to date on what we're working on and anything like that. And our Instagram is at Ally Shoes, so you can follow us there as well.
And you are so gracious. Everybody is entitled to $40 off if you use the code. You gave me a code. Let me check what it is. DP40 heels. So you can get a pair of heels at $40 off. I think it's really remarkable. Any last words of wisdom you want to impart with designers who want to take their idea from their kitchen table into the world? I know people have made mock-ups of shoes using kitchen tools. So any bites of wisdom or advice you want to give to anybody who has an idea and wants to take it to the world?
I think it's, I wouldn't say like wisdom, because I'm still trying to figure out a lot of things. But I will say that, you know, just listen to your customers or potential customers. And I think that's something that we are very fortunate to have done that. And it's given us so many ideas that we couldn't have thought about. So, one quick example is when we launched our nude collection, we also asked people, what shade of nude do you like? And it became very clear very quickly, even just amongst the three of us as founders. And just by talking to women, they said there's no one shade of nude. So that's
kind of like makeup.
And it's so simple, hindsight, but at the time you're like, oh yeah, that's right. So that's why we decided to launch with 5 different shades of nude. And I do wonder if every brand who, makeups or shoe brand or, tights or whatever that listen to women, then we won't just have one shade of nude as nude. So that's just an example, but I think, listening and asking your customers what they want has been truly helpful for us.
Doing the research, target marketing, delivering what people want. Obviously, that's how you run the business. You have to give people what they want, and you have to keep the end in mind, because otherwise you're going to be spinning your wheels if you purposely made a multitude of colors, but people just want different shades of nude.
Yep.
So you went out there, you're doing the research first. You have the problem solved. You have the tools. You figured out the supply chain. You figured out how you're going to deliver it, your sizing. Now you're going to go figure out what colors do people want. And then you're going to be able to deliver. Because ultimately, that's what you need to run a business. You have to be able to deliver what people want. It could look beautiful in the showroom, but you can't stay in the showroom. It has to get out into the world. And that's what I try to impart on everybody. Like, if you have an idea, you have to try and do it. You have to unleash it from your mind and take it into the world. But you have to also listen to, like, who is it that you're trying to reach? What do they want? And how could you make it so that it will fit them? And you're really filling this incredible need. This is amazing. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'll just close. So I'm Daniella Platt. So if your audience is interested, for anybody at Ally Shoes or, anybody listening. So I have workshops on how to be a sales rock star and fashion startup playbook. I have them on sale for 75% off, but anybody who is listening today, I do have a book that I wrote, which is also on Amazon, but I'm going to give you an ebook for free, as well as I have a free guide of how to get into the fashion industry and how anybody can turn their idea into their business platform. Because, right, I mean, when you went out and you started your line, you had to do a lot of research, and the more you knew, the more information you had, the faster you're able to rise and the faster you're able to go to market. So
I wish I read that book. I wish I had that book when I first started. That sounds amazing.
Well, you can't go back in time, but I'll send you one. But I think that's a little bit of information. You probably went on this journey as well. I mean, you had to get so much information to start the line to make it rise. So
yeah,
it's
definitely
really wonderful. Well, good luck to you. I can't wait to see your shoes. I'm in Los Angeles. Are they only available online, or do you have any showrooms here on the West Coast?
Not yet, but we do ship nationwide. So, and that's why we have the trial boxes. You can be anywhere in the US and you can try on our shoes hassle-free. But would love to come to LA at some point once, everything goes back to normal, because I love meeting people and having them try on our shoes in person. So definitely plan to do that in the future.
I could see them, like, it's a green screen, right? But I could see, like, if this was like the real background, like, I would just love to have the shoes displayed right here. I'm trying to do like the weatherman here. But I think I really think they're beautiful. And I love that you started small, but with big ideas in mind. I'm wondering where you're going to go. It's winter season. Are you even thinking about boots, or are you thinking
about boots probably next year, but we do have a block heel coming for the fall. So yeah,
we're around the city.
Gonna get there. But yeah, boots definitely something I really want to do. We're just taking it slow right now.
Amazing. I'm so impressed with you. Okay, Samantha Dong, Ally Shoes. Get it on their website. It's ALLY.NYC. DP 40 heels for $40 off. You are a champion. I'm so proud of you. You had an idea and you brought it into the world, and you are fearless for not letting all the obstacles out there that could stop you. Instead, you turned it into fuel and you said, I'm going to do this because women deserve to be comfortable, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Oh, this is great. Yeah, come back to my Zoom box anytime.
I will.
Bye.
Bye.